I saw too much. I saw too much. And now I have to speak. These were the first chilling words from Nancy Rooks, the former Graceland maid who worked for Elvis Presley for years. She wasn't just a cleaner. She was more like a shadow in that mansion. She saw what most people never could, and what she revealed just before her death shocked even the biggest Elvis fans. Nancy had been at Graceland since 1974. She was there during the last, most troubled years of Elvis's life. When fans were screaming his name, Nancy saw the other side. The lonely king sitting in silence, surrounded by pills, paranoia, and heartbreak. In public, Elvis was all smiles. But inside Graceland's walls, things were far from perfect. Nancy said Elvis had two faces. The one the world loved and the one he tried to hide. The second face was darker. It was filled with fear. Sometimes she'd find him in his bedroom, sitting by the window in the middle of the night, just staring out, talking to himself. Sometimes crying. Elvis had everything, Nancy once said, but he still looked like the saddest man alive. And that sadness, she believed, started from betrayal. But who betrayed him? That's where her story gets even more painful. Because it wasn't just drugs. It wasn't just fame. It was something deeper, something personal, something that had haunted him since the 1960s and never let go. The woman he couldn't let go of. Nancy revealed that the real tragedy of Elvis Presley wasn't just his addiction. It was love. More than fame. More than money. Elvis wanted someone who could understand the pain behind the fame. He thought he found that person in Priscilla. But Nancy claimed Elvis was never the same after Priscilla left. He stopped eating. He stopped sleeping right. He stopped laughing. Nancy said there were days Elvis would walk around Graceland in his pajamas, holding old love letters, just reading them over and over. Sometimes he'd ask her, "Do you think she still loves me?" Nancy didn't have the heart to lie, but the answer broke him. She also remembered one afternoon, Elvis asked her to make Priscilla's favorite banana pudding. She did, and when she brought it to him, he just stared at it. "She used to love this," he said. "Now she eats with someone else." What made it worse was what Priscilla did next. According to Nancy, Priscilla's visits became less about love and more about business. Nancy said she often heard arguments behind closed doors about money, lawyers, and control over Elvis's name. It tore him apart, Nancy whispered. He felt like she was taking everything, even his soul. That's when Elvis started spending more and more time alone, in the dark, listening to gospel music, or worse, mixing pills with sadness. Nancy would knock on his door just to check if he was still breathing. She knew where this road was going, but nobody could stop it, not even Elvis himself. The day everything changed. It was a hot August morning in 1977. Nancy had just arrived at Graceland. Everything seemed quiet, too quiet. She knocked on Elvis's door. No answer. She knocked again. Still no answer. Then, a scream echoed through the hallway. It was Ginger Alden, Elvis's girlfriend, crying, "He's not breathing." Nancy ran in and saw what no fan ever wanted to imagine. Elvis was lying on a bathroom floor. His skin was pale. His body was still. Nancy said, "I dropped to my knees." I knew he was gone before anyone said it. But what she noticed next has haunted her forever. On the counter, right beside Elvis, were crushed pills and a photo of Priscilla and Lisa Marie. Nancy believed it wasn't just an accident. Elvis died with a broken heart, she said, and no one could fix it. But the story doesn't end there. Because after his death, things got ugly. People Nancy had never seen before started showing up at Graceland. Not to grieve, but to claim. Everyone wanted a piece of Elvis. And Nancy? She was told to stay quiet. But what she saw in those final days, and what happened after, made her realize the truth behind the king's final chapter was much darker than the public ever knew. The secrets behind Graceland's walls. Nancy stayed at Graceland even after Elvis's death. She helped clean, organize, and quietly watched as Elvis's legacy was taken apart, piece by piece. She said Elvis's cousins and so-called friends came like vultures. They took furniture, jewelry, gold records, anything they could grab, and no one stopped them. It was like watching a royal tomb being robbed, Nancy whispered. But what upset her most was what they did to Elvis's memory. They sold stories. They made movies. They made money. But none of them talked about why Elvis really died. Nancy said Elvis was not just a victim of drugs, but a victim of loneliness, betrayal, and pressure no one could understand. He was tired, not just physically, but emotionally. Elvis wasn't living, she said. He was fading. In her last days, Nancy wanted the world to stop worshiping the image and start remembering the man. The broken man who once stood in his kitchen, holding a peanut butter sandwich and saying, "Sometimes I wish I could go back, just be a kid in Tupelo again." But life doesn't go backward. And for Elvis, time ran out. Nancy finally said, "They all say he was the king. But what good is a crown when you're crying alone in your castle?"